I want to go back into Revelation 17 where I left off. I think it was in verse 8. It says, let's talk about it really, about the beast that was and is not and yet is. In Revelation 17 and 8, it said, the beast that thou sawest was and is not and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose name were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. See, there's a lot of people do not understand that. The beast that was and is not and yet is. But I'm going to show you why it says the beast that was and is not and yet is. But first, the beast that came out of the, ascended out of the bottomless pit. Let's go to Revelation 13 and 1. That's when they ascended out of the bottomless pit. 13 and 1 said, and I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his head the name of blasphemy. See, it's showing all the beasts in Daniel, except it left one out. And see, the other one came in, that false prophet came in verse 11. See, verse 11 said, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. See, it shows all the beasts, like in verse 1, Revelation 13 and 1, it shows all the beasts that was in Daniel, except the false prophet that came in among the 10 kings. So it shows 2 beasts in Revelation 13. But in in Daniel chapter 7, it shows all 4. Daniel split them up into all 4 of them. Okay, I'm going to go back now. I'll go back to Daniel. Because it said a beast that was and is not and yet is. We go back to Daniel chapter 7. See. All right, Daniel chapter 7. We'll talk about really the 10 kings, the 10 horns. See, and with the false prophet. Daniel 7 and 7. I'm going to start in verse 6. See, but to see the leopard. In verse 6, it talk about the leopard, the one that before the 10 king. And said, after this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. See, dominion is authority, rulership was given into it. See, it was 4 of them. See, 4 was the Vatican and Britain and Russia and China. It was 4 of them. All right. I say in verse 7, I say, after this, after the 3rd beast, we will get into the 4th beast. We are not into the 3rd beast yet. We are still in the 1st and the 2nd beast, Russia and the United States and Britain. Okay, all right. Verse 7 said, after this I saw in the night vision, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful, terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverged from all the beasts that were before it. See, the beast that were before it was those 4 heads, the leopard. and it had 10 horns. And say in verse 8, say, and I considered the horns. See, it said, I considered the horns with an S on it. See, because it was 10 of them. And said, I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn. See, that came up among those 10 kings, another little horn. See, a little horn, it had got no S on the word horn, there was one. There came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked with S, first horns, because there was 3 of them plucked up. Three of them plucked up. It said, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. See, what 3 horns? Okay, there's the 3 horn was in the third beast, was plucked up by the roots. See, the little horn came out from the third beast, so it left 3 of them. So when the little horn came out from the third beast, he got with the 10 king. So when he got with the 10 king, he gave power unto those 10 king. So he plucked up them other 3 who he was with in the third beast, in the leopard. That little horn, the false prophet. False prophet came out from the third beast. You can turn to Daniel chapter 8. I'm going to start in verse 8. Daniel chapter 8 and verse 8. It said, therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken. You see, the he-goat is in the United States. They say, when he was strong, the great horn was broken. You see, and for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven. What 4 notable ones? See, that's when the third beast came in. It goes back to Daniel 7 and 6. That's the 4 notable ones. See, that's what a lot of people can't see. They say when the United States horn be broken, he said, and for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven. They came, that was the third beast. See, when the United States horn be broken, some people say it's going to be the end of the world. Talking about the Antichrist is going to show up. No, that's not so. See, the third beast going to have to rule a while. See, that's when the third beast come in. The leopard come in after the United States horn be broken. And it's saying toward the 4 winds of heaven. It goes back to Daniel 7 and 6. But you see in verse 9 it said, after, what it said, the great horn was broken, and for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven. And it said in verse 9, said, and out of one of them came forth a little horn. See, it came forth a little horn, the false prophet. You go back to Daniel 7 and 8. See, and said, and I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn. See, as the little horn is the false prophet. Came up among those 10. See, after the third beast. See, in the latter time of the third beast, but the third beast have to rule a while. He got out from the third beast, and he came up among those 10 kings. See, when he got with the 10 king, he plucked up them other 3 beasts who he was with, Russia, China, and Britain. See, because there was 4 of them in the third beast. It was the Vatican, and Russia, and China, and Britain. See, it was 4 of them. But the Vatican, the false prophet, got out from the third beast. When the 10 horn showed up, he got out from the third beast, and he got with the 10 king. See? So that made him the beast that was, and is not, and yet is. See, he was a beast before when he was with the third beast, when he was with the leopard, with the 4 heads, with Russia and China and Britain and the Vatican. He was among them. See, he's the beast that was and is not and yet is. See, that's what a lot of people can't see. See, but it said, like I was saying, like I said in Daniel 8 and 9, said, out of one of them came forth a little horn. See, the same little horn what you're reading, Revelation, in Daniel 7 and 8. See, one of them came forth a little horn. The little horn is the false prophet. See, it's the same thing. You read about it. See, like a Daniel 7 and 8 is the same to Daniel. Daniel 7, Daniel chapter 7 and verse 7 and verse 8 is the same as verse 20. See, in verse 20 it said, Daniel 7 and verse 20. And and of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up. See, the other one which came up is the false prophet, the little horn, and before whom 3 fell. See, it says 3 fell, but in Daniel 7 and 8, it said he was plucked up. See, it said, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. See? But in Daniel 20 it said, before whom 3 fell. See? See, when that little horn showed up, he plucked up, and those other 3 who he was with. And Daniel 20 it said, who 3 fell. See? He said, and of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up. See, the other which came up, the 10 horn came up first. Then the little horn came up among the 10. See, and 3, and before whom 3 fell. And verse 24 is the same. It will explain it to you again. See, the 10 horns showed up first. It said, and the 10 horn out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. See, he'll subdue them 3 kings who he was with. That's why they call it the beast that was and is not and yet is. See, because he was a beast before when he was in the 3rd beast. 3rd beast has 4 heads. As 3rd beast is the leopard. See, but he plucked at them other 3 who he was with. That's what a lot of people can't see. You know, some people be saying they plucked up 3 out of the 10 king, out of the 10 horns. That's not so. It's not true. He plucked up who the 3 other beasts who he was with before he got with the 10 king. See, he subdued them. Because the 10 king, you know, could be the full global government. You know, one world government. Want to be a global government. That's what they're trying to get now. That's why they hate Donald Trump. Donald Trump don't want no global government. He don't want to want the United States to stay in their sovereignty. You know, he want to be the president just of the United States, not of the world, not the leader of the world. See, but Donald Trump don't want to be in the global government, in the one world government. That's why they hate him. See. Just like that's why they hate Russia. See, Russia is separated. They don't want to be in a global government. See, it's like China. See, and like Britain. See, Britain want to pull out of the European Union. But the people of Britain, a lot of them want to pull out. See, that's why they're having that problem over there to try to get out of the European Union. See, they don't want to be part of it. See, that's why they're going to be plucked up. That's what a lot of people don't understand. When them 10 horn get here, everybody have to obey those 10 kings. See, or they're going to make war with them. See, that's what a lot of people do not understand. That's all it's all about. They want to form a one world government. It's like when Christ come back, they want to be like one world government. Christ could be the ruler of the whole world. See, of all the nation. So the Antichrist could do the same thing with the false prophet. The Antichrist is the false prophet. See, he'll be a religious leader and a political leader. But you see, like in Daniel 8 and show you Daniel 8:22, it says the same thing. See, but they tell it to you a little differently. Like in Daniel 8:22, it said, now that being broken, whereas four stood up for its four kingdom. See, for four of them stood as when the United States horn be broken, four of them will stand up for the kingdom. We'll get into the third beast, the leopard. It won't be the end yet. You got to understand that. See, I'm telling you right there, it said four stood up for its four kingdom and shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power, but not in the United States power. For I'm going to stand up after the United States home be broken, but not in the United States power. See? And it's in verse 23 said, in the latter time of their kingdom. See, in the latter time of their kingdom. See, the third beast will rule a while. See, with them four heads. So in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressor are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance. That's the king of fierce countenance means the Antichrist, the false prophet, understander of dark sentences. See, shall stand up. See, so a lot of people don't get it. See, when the latter time of the kingdom, then the Antichrist will show up, the false prophet, but the 10 horn will show up first, because the false prophet will get out from the third beast, the leopard. You go get when the 10 horns show up in the latter time of the third beast, you know, the iniquity come to its full, then the false prophet, you know, the 10 horn will show up first, then the false prophet will show up, because they overlap each other. All those beasts overlap each other. See, there's a lot of people can't see. And say in verse 24, say, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. See what that means? His power going to be mighty, but not by his own power. It's by the 10 king power, 10 horns. See? If you read the Bible and understand it, it tells you, because he got with the 10 king. See, he got out from the third beast. When the 10 king showed up, he got out from the third beast, and he got with the fourth beast with them 10 horn, 10 king, the little horn. You know, the false prophet that was among the leopard, among the third beast. See, when the 10 horn showed up, he got out from the leopard. He got with the 10 king, the false prophet. And you give power to those 10 kings. And the 10 king gonna rule the world. And he gonna pluck up them other 3 beasts. You know who he was with. You see. Because those 3 beasts, they don't want to be part of the global government. See what I'm saying? There's a lot of people can't see it. It's like Russia. See, and it's like China. They want to maintain their own like sovereignty. See, that's why they're going to pluck them up. See, they ain't going to have no more authority. They're going to be ruling the world, because Russia rule a part, China rule a part of the world. You know, like Britain rule a part. See, and the Vatican rule a part, like in the religion, rule most all the religion. See, a lot of people are Catholic. See, and they going to make all of religion accept him. See. And by they don't want to accept it, they're going to set up an image. They're going to say they should be killed like Nebuchadnezzar did. He's going to be the world government. He's going to be the leader of the world. You know, the Vatican. You're going to be the political leader and the religious leader, the false prophet, to rule the world like Jesus Christ. It'll be all in one. Like Nebuchadnezzar reigned everything in one. He controlled the worship. Yeah, that's why people had to bow down and worship that image. You know, then like Shadrach, Meshach, they didn't want to bow down and worship that image. So they say they should be killed, thrown into the fire and furnace. You know, same thing that the false prophet could do. You can read about it in Revelation chapter 13 and verse 15. See, I'm going to turn to you the false prophet. Revelation 13. Let's see. Yeah, Revelation 13 and 15. See, the false prophet came in verse 11. You read on down, and then to get down to verse 15, it said, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and call that many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. See that? Same like Nebuchadnezzar did. See? And the Bible tells you that he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. You're the one that caused it. You turn to Revelation chapter 19. You're the one that caused it. See? Revelation 19, I could tell you about it, Revelation 19 and verse 20, I believe. Yeah, verse 20. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrote miracles. You see, the false prophet, tell you about in Revelation 13, and he wrote miracles before him with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast. See, he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast. See, he's the false prophet, the religious leader that came in verse 11. It calls the people to receive the mark of the beast. See, and them that worship his image. You see, he set up an image in verse 15 and said, whosoever shall not worship that image of the beast should be killed. Same thing like Nebuchadnezzar did in verse 15, Revelation 13 and verse 15. And it said, these both were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone. See? That's what I was showing y'all. You know, look at while you're reading Revelation chapter 17. When it tell you the beast in verse 8, it said, the beast that thou sawest was and is not, shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world. You see? When they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. See, he's the beast that was and is not and yet is. That's why I have to go through all that to try to explain that to y'all. Why it said a beast that was and is not and yet is, because he was already among the third beast. That false prophet was among the third beast. So he's the beast that was and is not and yet is. He came out when the 10 horn showed up, and the latter time of the third beast and the 10 horn showed up. He got with the 10 king because they overlap each other. Each beast, they overlap each other. See, lay before the third beast get out, the 10 horns showed up. You know, so he got out from the third beast and he got with the 10 king. And he plucked up those other 3 beasts who he was with in the third beast, the leopard. That's all it is. But a lot of these men said that he plucked up them other 3 beasts who he was with in the 10 horn. That is not true, or what this would be leaving 7. See, there's a lot of people do not understand, you know. But the beast that was and is not yet is. That's why you still see the 10 horn. The Bible tell you the 10 horn got destroyed that whole church. The 10 horn was still there, like in Revelation 17. It tells you And Revelation 17, let's see, I think he has Revelation 17, and it said, for God had put in their heart to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the word of God shall be fulfilled. See? In verse 16 it said, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. See, the religion, the church, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. See, for God had put in their heart to fulfill his will, see. Yeah. And to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the word of God shall be fulfilled. See, the Bible tell you, like in verse 18, it said, and the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. See, she reigns over the kings of the earth. See, he said the beast carried her. See, that's what I wanted to bring to y'all today. I just want to get y'all to see and to understand. You know, that's why I call it the beast that was and is not, and yet is. She was among that she was a beast before she got with the 10 king. See, yeah, why they call it the second beast in Revelation 13 and in 11. You know, one that because he received the mark of the beast. See, the second beast. And Daniel showed it was 4 beasts. Daniel split them up. You know. But all of them overlap. It's a continuation. They all overlap until they get to the 4th beast. You know, that's why and show you why he's of the 8. You know, because it was the United States and Britain as 1 beast, and Russia that the second as 2 beasts as the second. Then the leopard, the 3rd beast, had 4 heads. The leopard, so it makes 6. He had 4 heads, that's why it made 6. Then when the 10 horns showed up, that made 7. See, and the false prophet came in among those 10. So he's of the 8, but he's of the 7. See, because he came in among, he got in like to 1. See, but he was of the 8 beast, but he's of the 7. See. See, if you read the Bible, it'll tell you that. If you understand it. See? But that's what I wanted to bring to y'all today, is show you that the beast that was and is not and yet is. You know, like I said, a 10 horn showed up, then the little horn came up among those 10. But the little horn came from the 3rd beast, from the leopard. See, the false prophet came from the leopard. He was among the leopard in them 4 heads. When the United States horn be broken, 4 of them going to stand up for their kingdom. See, we'll get into the leopard. It ain't going to be the end yet. You know. And then the latter time of the kingdom, see, the kingdom will rule a while, like it said in Daniel 8:22-23. Kingdom will rule a while, the 3rd beast. The latter time of the kingdom. Then the king of fierce continent, understand of dark sentences down, the false prophet, the Antichrist will come in. It'll be the final beast with them 10 horns, with the false prophet among them 10, to make the final beast. But thank y'all, and may God bless y'all and give y'all wisdom and knowledge and understanding of his word. Thank you.